comfy. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for your patience with those technical difficulties. I'm Wendy Briggs. This is Heather. We've got Katie. We've got Tara. Where did she go? There you are in the back. Here just to kind of help walk you through those of you that are here with us live. So welcome. We're glad you're here. And then we actually have quite a few joining us online. So we're glad to have everybody here. Hopefully everybody can hear us okay and everything is going to be good. We've already had our fair share of technical glitches, so we should be maxed out. So we should be good to go. So real quick, I just want to introduce myself and let you know who I am. I see some familiar faces in here, so some of you may be a little bit familiar with who I am and why we're here together. I am a dental hygienist first and foremost. Let me just play the video. It'll tell you a little more of my story. Okay.
Me and Wendy was once an hygienist who served patients. She worked hard and was obsessed with finding better, more efficient ways of delivering world-class hygiene to her patients. She became a dynamo of hygiene production. Her patients were happier, healthier, and willing to invest in their oral health. Wendy had cracked the code of hygiene success. It began to spread. It wasn't long before other hygienists were better for Wendy's secrets. When Wendy shared her secrets with other hygienists, they instantly became more productive and more fulfilled while serving their patients better than ever before. It was as if Wendy had opened the door to success. Word spread faster, and in no time, Wendy was traveling across the country and the world, sharing her secrets and helping practices find the hidden diamonds in their hygiene department. Hey, Wendy has taken thousands of hygienists to success they never dreamed of. Hygiene has become one of the world leaders in hygiene consulting.
So note to self, airplay may not work the best with video. But yeah, there's plenty. We can actually add more chairs. We had you all register, and we didn't actually think to ask how many of you were coming live and how many of you were participating online. So we'll grab more chairs. We see people come in. Heather, if we need to grab more chairs, we absolutely will. We're happy you're here. So that's just a little bit of my story. If you caught some of it, I'm actually a speaker, author, and really I travel the country and the world speaking to dentists and hygienists. Last week, gosh, I think I had 3 lectures in this country, but probably more than 1,000 dental professionals just last week alone. So I speak to a ton of people. And the reason we're here is not necessarily I certainly don't intend to come across as bragging about that, but I just want you to know that this is something I do because I love it. I absolutely love essential oils. And being able to be with you and to meet with other people in our profession who want to learn about essential oils is something that I'm passionate about. And so I'll tell a little bit more about my story as we go throughout the evening. But just a quick summary, I'm a hygienist first and foremost, and have spent the last 20 years or so working with practices, the best and brightest in our profession across the country. And as a result of that, I've met other very incredible, bright professionals as well. One of those is Dr. Dave Sawyer. And the reason I'm introducing him, even though he's not here, is because he helped create a lot of the videos and a lot of the materials that we share with dentists and hygienists across the country about how they can utilize essential oils in their practices. So I think it's important for you to learn a little bit about who he is and what his resume is like. It's seriously one of the most impressive resumes I've ever come across, certainly in any profession, not just dentistry. So he studied dentistry in Louisville. Went to Harvard for endo, studied at MIT. He studied neuroscience at MIT. Then he did an oral surgery, what do they even call it? An oral surgery course, residency in Austria. So he's essentially a dual surgeon. In our country, they only or a dual specialist. In our country, they only recognize one, so he's chosen to practice endo. So he has a series of practices. I think he has 5 practices right now. He's owned as many as 20 practices in Maine. And he is probably, in my experience, the most highly educated person that I know of understanding biofilm, how it all works together, understanding bacteria, how bacteria affects the health of the body, as well as how essential oils impact bacteria and disease in our body. So I've learned a lot from him, and I'm grateful to share some of the insights that he has about some of the topics that we'll be covering here tonight. So we decided to have this meeting. And for those of you, again, quick hand dental professionals, there's quite a few of you here in the room. All hygienists? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, Awesome. And then wellness advocates. We have a good mix. Yes, you might wonder, okay, what the heck? Why are we mixing the two? And I think that the thing that people are most excited about is doTERRA just released their own mouthwash. Okay, it was just like literally at convention. The first date you can even order it is November 1st. And so just a little bit more about us and this journey. I've been speaking and teaching about essential oils in dentistry for, gosh, 3.5, 4 years. Well, longer than that, because I was an advocate for a different product line before that. But in reality, we've been, kind of expecting this to come. And some of the resources I'm going to share with the wellness advocates tonight, a little bit later on, we've been building in anticipation of this launch. Okay, hygienists in the room. One of the reasons I got so interested and involved in essential oils is because I hated the products we had at our fingertips to use with patients. Absolutely hated chlorhexidine. Staining and tartar formation, why would we want to make our jobs harder? And the other challenge with that product line with that product is that patients hate it. They rarely use it, but they need something. They need something more than the over-the-counter products can provide for them. So long story short, in my effort to find the best possible products for patients, I began recommending a different product line called Tooth and Gum Tonic, and I advocated for them 10 to 12 years. I think I'm still on their website. And the only change to me recommending that product line was when I started working with practices in the UK, in Australia, and Canada. Tooth and Gum Tonic won't ship there. Okay? So I had these other hygienists loving everything we were teaching about essential oils, unable to get any products. So I called my friend Heather, who I knew was a diamond in doTERRA. Okay? And I mean, I live in Pleasant Grove, right here by the headquarters, even though I'm traveling all over the place. And I said, okay, what does doTERRA have for a mouth rinse? And you know what she said? Oh, we really don't have anything. We just share this recipe with our people and they just mix it together. And I'm like, okay, Heather, like your crazy oil people might do that, but, and I say that with love because I'm becoming a crazy oil person myself. But the average dental patient, like we can't get them to follow through. They don't follow through. They're not gonna mix their own recipe, right? I mean, we can't even get to them to use the products we give them for free. And so anyway, long story short, it began this incredible conversation with Dr. Dave and a whole bunch of other incredibly gifted scientific-minded people about what would the ideal product look like, right? What would I want to see in it as a key opinion leader in our profession, as a hygienist myself that's just trying to help patients win, right? What would I want in it? So we had a lot of conversations about that. Okay, so ultimately, we could not be more excited about doTERRA launching this mouthwash. I think your patients will be excited about it. I think you're going to be excited about it as a dental professional. And I also think for many hygienists, they're excited about the opportunity that comes from participating in this tremendously hot trend right now, which is essential oils. Interestingly enough, essential oils is not new to dentistry, right? We've used essential oils in dentistry for hundreds of years. Every time we have a patient come to the office that has a dry socket, what are we packing with? Essential oils. You know, IRM, essential oils. There's a lot of products that we use. In fact, Listerine is an essential oils-based formula. Now, we're going to talk about that because one of the main reasons I never advocated for Listerine was, well, there's a variety of reasons, but number one, it's chemically based, not plant-based essential oils that are used in that formula, number one. Number two, high alcohol content. We know over time, high alcohol can cause oral cancer, can cause degradation of the oral tissues, so that wasn't something I wanted my patients to be using. And frankly, it tastes awful. So patient compliance is also important. One of the reasons they don't use chlorhexidine is because of the terrible taste. So here we are to this crossroads today. And I've gotten ahead of myself just a little bit, but I wanted you to see, if we can, if AirPlay will work for us. I'm going to play a video that Dr. Sawyer produced about why essential oils are so effective when it comes to fighting bacteria and viruses and some of the challenges that we face in the mouth. And then we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive on the oral systemic link. Why does it matter that we have resources and products to help our patients win in this battle for their health? Okay. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to try to play this video with Dr. Dave. If the audio isn't working effectively, well, let's just see how we do. We can cross our fingers, see if it's going to work for us.
Bacteria have the ability to change genetic over time for their own self-preservation. Bacteria have their own defensive mechanism. They produce something called a peptidoglycan layer. It's the equivalent of an M&M shell that's the chocolate on the side. Now, what the other elements the bacteria are very, very good at making, and that is something called a biofilm. Biofilm is its own very goopy, slimy mess that covers itself in. So what's now starting to happen? We are finding that one very useful antibacterial medications are no longer effective at all. What that means for us, we have to use stronger antibacterial medications. We have to use more potent antibacterial medication. That comes to cost our own bodies. Melaleuca has the ability to come in and start to modify that sludge and remove it so that the oregano can get to the bacteria. And in oregano, there's a product called carvacrol. Carvacrol will bind that glycan and punch a little hole there. Once that hole opens, you start to get a passing of ions back and forth. What that does to the bacteria is it allows it to lyse, burst open. And we've now accomplished something pretty dramatic. That is, by doing nothing more, using two simple little plant-based essential oils, you have created a very effective antibacterial solution.
So it wasn't perfect, but I think you got the gist of it, right? You really got the main key points here. And so I want to kind of review that real quick. So what he was talking about is bacteria's capability of creating a biofilm, right? And we're going to talk at length about biofilm diseases and what impact they can have on the body, and why essential oils are so impactful and so helpful is because that the essential oils have ingredients in them like carvacrol. They're not all exactly built the same, right? Every essential oil has its own chemical formulation, but the essential oils, when they work together, can actually penetrate and has an impact on the biofilm. Okay, it can cause the bacteria to lyse, as you saw illustrated in that video, and not even antibiotics have the capability to do that. So antibiotics cannot work on the cellular level, where essential oils do. Okay, so that's really the key differentiator when we look at, why are essential oils so powerful and so effective in the body with healing. And it's not just dentistry, right? There's a lot of different applications that we have for essential oils. So again, tonight we're really going to be talking about essential oils in dentistry and oral health. And there's certainly far more people that are qualified to talk about essential oils and total systemic health and all the challenges that people have. Here's my thing. I think that inherently we have everything we need on this planet to heal. We've just lost the knowledge on how to use what's here. Okay? Back in the day, there were healers in the village, and they passed that knowledge down, over time from family to family. And as our societies become more complex, we've depended a lot more on medications, which may or may not be effective. And like Dr. Dave said, we're also seeing some fairly alarming things happening within our own profession, in that these long-held gold standard products are no longer as effective because the bacteria does evolve for their own survival. They're changing their own genetic structure as well as their physical structure. So the bacteria has the ability to evolve, and they'll change how it's structured to protect itself, but also then it modifies its own DNA. So every subsequent generation of the bacteria will also have those same defense mechanisms. So bacteria is evolving. And so we have products that for many, many years have been effective that are no longer as effective. Okay, so we're going to switch gears and we're going to go over essential oils in dentistry and why it's important for us to have this conversation and provide some resources. And I already introduced ourselves, Dr. Dave and myself, but I think it's important that we understand the health of the mouth is not separate from the health of the rest of the body. Okay, Heather, also, I'm just going to depend on you real quick. I forgot to give a shout out to our online listeners. And I'm sure if they have questions, have them just type them in the chat box. And then at various points, we might stop and see if anybody has some questions. If I stop and ask them if they have questions, if they have questions, we'll answer those at the same time. Okay.
Fantastic.
So welcome, everybody. So let's dive in. So I love this old proverb that said, the eyes are a window to the soul, and the mouth is the doorway to the body. And what that means is we can tell a lot about the health of the body by what their mouth looks like. Okay, and we know this. We see patients that present, and before we even have them open their mouth, we're reviewing their medical health history, and it's like item after item after item after item, multiple medications, all to address these other systemic issues, and then they open their mouths and it's a mess there too. Okay, so it's not separate. I don't know why we treat it that way in our society. It's unfortunate that we have medical insurance and dental insurance, for example. The hygienist in the room, we could probably turn this entire evening into an event session about the challenges of dealing with insurance, as I'm sure could the patients in the room. But the point is, you know, I don't know why we think of the health of the body and the health of the mouth as separate. They really are more connected than many people realize. And current research is showing us even more everyday information about how they're linked. Okay, so we're going to review some of that. When we see patients that are at high levels of risk for periodontal infections, they're often also at high risk for decay. Okay, and one of the challenges, one of the frustrations I had is, for example, chlorhexidine. For those that aren't dental professionals, chlorhexidine is like the go-to. Would you agree with me, hygiene team? Yeah, the go-to product for periodontal disease in the mouth, okay, and has been for 40, 50 years, probably. So one of the challenges that has is that it has no impact on strep mutans. Okay, strep mutans is one of the main culprits that causes cavities. 28 different species cause cavities, but strep mutans is like the most common and the most virulent. So it doesn't touch it. So we've all often had, okay, these are products for anti-cavity. These are products to have periodontal health. And what I wanted when I was putting together my list of, in an ideal world, what would I want in a product for consumers to use? I wanted something that would have an impact on both. And the exciting thing is our On Guard formula does. Okay, so that's awesome. It's exciting. So let's kind of review what we know about periodontal disease. We know periodontal disease is a manifestation of a systemic condition that manifests itself in the mouth. Okay, so what do we know about periodontal disease? Well, we could do a comprehensive science update. And if I had a full day with a hygienist and we were going through our comprehensive periodontal protocol, I spend about 2 full hours going over 38 to 50 scientific slides about all the latest crazy links linking periodontal disease with other serious systemic health threats. And I'll go over some here today, but I don't want to bore you. I want to get to the meat of why you came, which is talking about essential oils and how they can help our patients. Okay, but I will say, more than ever before, we recognize there's a link. Okay, the AAP and the EFP got together and they released a whole series of papers about studies, the most compelling studies linking periodontal disease and other serious systemic health threats. So I'm going to talk through some of those studies. And when we really look at why there's risks to the body when we have disease in the mouth, they make more sense to me when we recognize a few things. There's more than 500 different species of bacteria found in the mouth. Okay, 500 different species of pathogens, which means these are species that exist to cause disease. Okay, 500 different pathogens in the mouth. And many of these are contagious. They are transmissible. So when we say bad teeth runs in my family, we hear that from patients a lot, right? They think it's like encoded in their DNA. It's not. It's a vertical transmission of pathogenic bacteria. So the parents passing it to the child, typically, usually it's even before the baby's even a year old. We've already inoculated them. If parents are prone towards cavities, so will the babies be prone towards cavities. If parents struggle with periodontal disease, if their whole family has lost their teeth by the time they reach old age, there's a really good chance the kids have been inoculated with the same bacterial strains by the time they're a year old, unless we're actively fighting that. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We also find it fascinating. I find it fascinating that plaques in the heart and plaques in the mouth have the same DNA. So if you have a patient in the chair, or if you're a patient that tends to build up a lot of plaque buildup, chances are it's not just happening in your mouth. Okay, what do the valves of the heart look like? And that's why even 10, 20 years ago, we suspected there was a link between periodontal disease and heart disease or stroke. Okay, because when we have an out-of-control plaque problem in the mouth, the valves of the heart also most likely are coated with plaques. So this is really fascinating to me when we look at some of this research that we now have available. Okay, we also know that bleeding gums can indicate more than just a lack of home care, right? A lot of times when patients go see their dental hygienist, we often go over what we call OHI, which is oral hygiene instructions. We spend a lot of time on that. We like, this is part of our culture. It's part of our responsibility is to help our patients maybe have better success with what they're doing at home. And in reality, for many, many years, we thought, okay, if the gums are bleeding and there's a lot of plaque in there, we need to help the patient understand more effectively what they can be doing at home day to day. And that's still true. However, we also know that bleeding gums are the first clinical warning sign for more than 20 serious medical disorders. So bleeding gums, the first warning sign anyone will see for things like leukemia. So that's a big deal. So if we have a patient that's not responding to scaling and reclaiming or traditional dental services, and we get them back for that 4-week follow-up, and things don't quite add up, there's a good chance that patient doesn't need the flossing lecture. They don't need, that toothbrush at a greater 45-degree angle. What they need is a referral to a physician. They need blood work. We need to identify what's going on systemically that could be manifesting in their mouth. Okay, so it's a new ballgame when it comes to this, and there's so many important things that we're learning that are connected with poor oral health, and we know exactly now how and why. Okay, we've only known this since 2014. So there was an article published, or a lecture that won the Active Prize in 2014 that determined. Now this is going to be very technical for the non-dental professionals, but we're just going to do it anyway. Okay, it determined that when there's infection in the mouth, there's a layer of tissue called epithelial lining, okay? And when that lining gets diseased, there's mini ulcerations, little ulcers or sores in that tissue, which is why some people say my gums bleed, okay? So if gums bleed, usually that's not an indicator of health. Okay? There's microscopically, most likely, sores or lesions in that endothelial lining. Okay? So what's happening is when those sores exist, that's where the bacteria gets into the blood. Okay, the pathogens in the mouth that exist to cause disease are entering through those lesions in the endothelial lining. And so what's happening is that's how the bacteria is going in and invading the heart, invading the lungs, invading the stomach, especially if there's a pregnant mama. These bacteria have been directly linked using DNA cloning technologies, which we've only had for a handful of years, that have proven that bacteria in the mouth are the same bacteria that settled and caused that were found in the blood clot of heart attack, for example. Okay? Same bacteria that was determined to have caused septic infection and a stillborn baby. So it's crazy how much we know in today's world. Question.
Okay, for those who are not dental hygienists, may I just ask to clarify?
Of course.
So the premier reason to have bleeding gums is if you have plaque buildup, right? If you're not using a proper oral hygiene protocol.
Like there's a lot of reasons. That's one of them.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one of them.
That's one of the things.
But if you are flossing and brushing your teeth and using mouthwash every day and they're still bleeding, that's when you want to really go and
you need to visit a dentist at that point and see if there's something else going on. So the question really was, is controlling the plaque, flossing, brushing, all that, is that enough, to prevent bleeding? Yes, in many healthy patients, that will at least prevent the bacteria from becoming active enough to cause infection or disease.
Yep,
okay, so controlling the bacteria and reducing the bacterial load is really the whole purpose behind brushing and flossing and all the craziness that we have to do, right? Is controlling that bacteria. But essentially, I've seen patients have pretty good plaque control that still, when we're checking their tissues, bleed upon slight touch, and it doesn't make sense. And those patients, after blood work, referral to physician, are usually pre-diagnosed diabetic. We had a 24-year-old with heart disease that was undiagnosed. So usually there's a systemic reason behind unexplained poor health in the mouth. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we talk about brushing and flossing and keeping the bacterial load under control, is because it does help prevent disease. It's not just cavities, but all kinds of disease in the mouth. So that's why one of the reasons why we kind of take it seriously. And maybe patients get irritated or annoyed by that a little bit. How do I know that? Because they say it, right? They say it in the chair, but also in reviews, and they anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But my point is, there's some serious diseases that can be caused by the pathogens that just exist in the mouth if we're not careful. Okay? And here's the thing. At some point in many people's life, it's just a matter of time. It's part of the aging process. They will develop periodontal disease. It's actually said that once you're over the age of 65, 70% of the population has periodontal disease. So it's just, at some point, the bacteria is going to gain the upper hand, right? But how can we reduce the bacterial load and diminish the odds of periodontal disease for our patients? How can we help them be more effective with what they're doing day to day? That's the key, right? Yes.
My question is, do you think with age they're getting periodontal disease like a weakened immune system more than necessarily disease?
So the question was, as they age, are they getting periodontal disease because they are having a weakened immune system, or is it dexterity issues? I think it's a combination of factors. I think it's widely accepted that as we age, the risk factors that we see also are impacted. It could be dexterity, it could be just the bacterial loads out of control, your immune system's weaker because they're fighting other battles. You know, I kind of view the immune system as there's only so many soldiers to fight, and if some of them are pulled off to battle diabetes, you know, that's going to be a challenge. And certainly I'm not an expert on disease and total health. I've just studied it a lot. I'm a little bit of a science geek. And certainly, you know, giving an 8-hour lecture to hygienists and dentists, you kind of got to know what you're talking about with some of this. But I will say, I think that's probably the reason. As you look at the risk factors, as we tend to age, we just add more risk factors to that list. And some people are going to have tremendous health. My granddad died at 97 with almost all of his teeth. Okay, and it's interesting when they study what do they call it? Centenarians. What do they call them? Octogenarians, centenarians. I don't know how to pronounce it. When they're over 100 years old, all right. When people are over 100 years old, many of them, when they're talking, they have their own teeth. So I think we probably, you know, humbly, I think we're never going to know all the ways the human body is connected. But I do know that the health of their mouth has a lot to say about the health of their body. That's what we're seeing with all of the compelling research. Okay, and again, I don't want to get stuck too much on this, but I do think it's important that we have this conversation, because if all we're doing is scaling and replaning, or if all we're doing is cleaning up the bacteria that we see, okay, it's not enough. Okay, so we have to have strategies in place to also help the patient, help people keep the bacterial load down day to day. Okay, because it's been said that if all we're doing is scaling and replaning, bacteria levels return to pre-treatment levels 21 to 60 days later, unless we give them antimicrobials, we give them products that can help reduce the bacterial load day to day. Make sense? So 21 to 60 days, if all we're doing is getting rid of the bacteria initially, it's like mowing this lawn and expecting things to get better. Lawn's going to look better for a time, but 21 to 60 days after we mow it, what's it going to look like? Same thing, right? It's going to be infested yet again. So what can we do to change that? Well, there's a lot of different strategies, a lot of different products out there. So I want to quote some sources from our professions, magazines and research articles. Okay, so this is Dentistry Today. It is a study they published in their periodontics division, how microbiologically monitored periodontal therapy using herbal and essential oil irrigants has an impact on health. Okay? So what they said was that the at-home use of an essential oils blend was shown to significantly reduce bacterial counts. What are we trying to do? Reduce the bacteria in the mouth so that there's less bacteria that can go and enter the blood and attack the body. Okay? So less bleeding, significant improvement in texture and tightness of the tissue, which is what we're hoping for, hygienists. And patients reporting their mouths felt significantly better. Awesome. Okay, what else can we look at? Well, CRA, Gordon Christensen, Clinical Research Associates, did a fresh breath study. At the top of the list, the most effective agent they found against bad breath, essential oils. Okay, bad breath is caused by bacteria in the mouth. Okay, so very effective against bacteria. Other articles, this was published in October of 2015 in RDH magazine. It was a super article. I had nothing to do with it. We had already launched our own preemptive product line. And so I was thrilled that it came out, because I'm like, see, like, look at all this research. This isn't just, you know, some crazy hair. This is where the research has taken us, that these products can have an impact in improving health. Okay, so incorporating essential oils into clinical dentistry, page after page after page of different scenarios and different ways we can use essential oils with our practice and our patients, and as patients ourselves, right? So another article published in Dentistry Today, time-tested botanical remedies for modern periodontal therapy, talking about essential oils in dentistry. And in this article, there's a really compelling quote. He says, the overuse of antibiotics in dentistry has caused microorganisms to develop resistance to these drugs and become virulent. Microorganisms do not appear to develop tolerance or resistance to the antibacterial effects of essential oils. And when I was talking with Dr. Dave Sawyer about why that is, he said, think about it. Essential oils exist in nature. So let's envision a grapefruit. How many thousands of years has a grapefruit had to perfect its defense mechanism? Keeps away pests, keeps away bugs, keeps away bacteria. And when we use those same elements, those same compounds in products that we use, we can harness and piggyback on all those protective benefits. and they're not harmful at all to the tissues of our body, which is also important to me as well. Okay, so I thought that was awesome. So let's talk about some of the other gold standard products we have and some of the reasons why I was wanting another option. And you know, this is clear back, gosh, when did I first start using Spin Gum Tonic? Probably, we're 18 years in, so it was probably like 2000. I graduated from hygiene school in, let's see, I had you 93. This is my daughter, who's also a hygienist, by the way. I know I don't look old enough to have a daughter that's also a hygienist. But here you go. And Jane doesn't know yet, but she'll be a hygienist too. So we're training them up, right? Or maybe she could be a dentist if she wants. You know, Big Tom, he's gonna be a dentist. She has a 2-year-old as well. So we're working on our 3rd generation here. Anyway, my point is, probably 20 years, been looking for something other than chlorhexidine because it just wasn't having the impact I wanted it when I was using it with patients. Now, fast forward, 2014, we've had some compelling research. Compelling enough to have us rethinking how we use chlorhexidine in our practices. In fact, I was actually speaking at a meeting called AOSH, the American Academy of Oral Systemic Health, a couple of years ago, and we're actually speaking there again next year. I think it's in September in Nashville. I can't remember. But my point is, at this meeting, this is like all of the scientific minds from outside dentistry as well. And I heard a periodontist basically say he could conceive of absolutely no reason why chlorhexidine would ever be used in dentistry in today's world. And the whole room was like, oh. You know, imagine you got a room full of 350 dentists and hygienists, and he says, don't use chlorhexidine, which really has been our gold standard, it's our go-to. And people are like, well, then what do we use? And you know what he said? Essential oils. Essential oils. So it's not just our research that's sending us this direction. You're starting to see some really exciting essential oils being launched across the board as great products in dentistry. Okay, so let's talk about chlorhexidine and some of the risks or some of the challenges of that. What they're finding is bacteria have become resistant to chlorhexidine. They've induced internal mechanisms of tolerance or resistance by mechanisms that are not yet fully understood. Okay, both in long-term use and high concentrations, the bacteria has become tolerant and resistant to chlorhexidine. Okay, so even though it's a broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent, what it's saying is little is known about the underlying mechanisms for this tolerance, but they think tolerance levels are much higher when we're dealing with biofilms. Okay, so periodontal disease, plaque in the mouth, biofilm, like that's what it is. And so the bacteria have found a way, they found a workaround.
So biofilms are just the bacteria kind of grouping up and
Creating a sludge, a shell like it showed in the video for their own protection. So planktonic free-floating bacteria, far easier to eradicate those. But once bacteria succeed in forming a biofilm, it's far more difficult to address that. So a lot of chronic diseases end up biofilm caused. So for example, if you have a diabetic that has a foot wound, right? Most of us, you put some Neosporin cream on it or some kind of high intensity cream, it's going to heal. Our body's going to heal and it's going to go away. But diabetic patients, if it's allowed to go for too long, the bacteria succeed in forming a biofilm, and often then they're looking at amputation. That's all they can do. They can't heal it. Okay. Another example would be babies. Little ones that get ear infections, chronic ear infections. The first couple of times, antibiotics work just fine. But after a period of time, if the bacteria succeeds in forming a biofilm, the antibiotic doesn't help anymore. And pretty soon we're looking at surgical intervention, maybe tubes in the ears or something to try and obliterate the infection. Okay, so this is a very common thing. Pneumonia with cystic fibrosis patients, biofilm disease. So a lot of the biofilm diseases, there's a lot of research around that. It said that about 500,000 people die every year from biofilm infection. So it's serious. It's not, we're not just messing around. Biofilm infections can be very serious, but it's more difficult for us as in the health profession to eradicate these diseases and these infections because bacteria become tolerant and resistant. Even our own body's natural defense mechanisms no longer serve once they've succeeded, which is why bacteria tries to develop biofilms, right? It's safer for them. They'll survive. Okay, so that's why we're seeing such a shift towards essential oils and using essential oils to fight disease because they can have an impact on bacteria even once they've developed and formed a biofilm. Okay, so let's talk about on Guard. let's talk about some essential oils that I find really exciting to use in dentistry and some of the impacts that we've seen. And I've done a ton of research. I probably sifted through, gosh, Heather, would you say 350, 400 different scientific studies, kind of trying to figure out which oils we wanted to have in formulas, especially if we were going to be jumping in and creating a mouth rinse of our own. See, I was impatient. I didn't wait for doTERRA to release their own. I released another product as a lead into that, probably 3.5, 4 years ago. Okay, so we did a lot of research. We're trying to figure out what we wanted in here. Now I'm happy to report we've got On Guard, which has a really, really great On Guard plus some other ingredients that I think you'll get really excited about. So let's talk about On Guard for a minute. This is a proprietary blend that has put together some really powerful essential oils: wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. Astounding antimicrobial properties as studied by quite a few people. So I'm going to go through the essential oils themselves, and I'm going to share with you some of the research behind the power of On Guard. Okay, and I think when I first started looking at some of this research, I was actually floored at how effective On Guard is, and I personally am shocked and surprised that the medical community at large hasn't heard of some of this research. I think maybe they have, but maybe there's just a lack of understanding and awareness of how essential oils work and how they really are scientifically proven. It's not like voodoo witch magic. It's scientifically proven that they can help heal. Okay, so let's kind of talk through that. So what does wild orange have? Well, we've got a couple different reasons why I think wild orange makes sense for dentistry. Supports healthy immune system, which we just talked about. You know, when people start to fail as they age, a lot of times it's the immune system letting them down. Okay, wild orange also has been proven to really have an impact on restoring homeostatic balance when we have bacterial threats. Okay, also essential oils reduce the salivary cortisol and pulse rate with anxiety. And this is so key for us. We're going to talk a little bit more about dental anxiety and how we are seeing a lot of practices use essential oils diffusers in the treatment room to reduce anxiety. Both lavender and wild orange have been proven to dramatically reduce dental anxiety prior to dental visits in a measurable way. Okay, so we deal with anxiety all the time in dentistry. So that's another way that we can use essential oils to benefit our patient experience. So we'll talk a little more about that too. Hey, clove, used in dentistry for over a century. We know that it's a very effective antiseptic. I'm on a couple natural healing Facebook groups just to kind of see what, I like to keep my finger on the pulse of the community at large, not just natural healing communities, but a lot of different communities. And just about everybody, when they say, I've got a tooth that's bothering me, I've got an infected tooth, almost everybody suggests clove, right? And of course, I'm the one that's like, see your dentist. And they're like, really, we can heal it ourselves. I'm like, not everything. But, you know, anyway, it doesn't make me very popular on some of those. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to engage. But we know clove's effective, right? Wound dressings often include clove. When it was, there was an article that was published in the Journal of Antimicrobial Chemotherapy in 2004 that said clove was tested against and killed more than 60 strains of bacteria, 15 strains of fungus, plus several viruses. So very powerful agent within clove. Antibacterial, antifungal, this is what this study proved right here that was published in the Antimicrobial Chemotherapy magazine. Okay, cinnamon bark. Cinnamon bark essential oils also were studied. It was published in the International Journal of Microbiology in 1987. But they killed 92% of gram-negative and positive bacterial strains out of the 25 tested. Very effective. Gram-negative bacterial strains are very difficult to kill. And so for cinnamon to go after it and have that kind of an impact is impressive. Okay, very few agents can do that. Interestingly enough, traditional Chinese medicine and ancient Egyptians have used cinnamon as a healing agent for centuries. And I think it's a reason for that. And again, this is in the Encyclopedia of Herbs. Look at how much it has an impact on staph infections, which can be really, really difficult to eradicate. Recent research conducted in New Zealand shows that cinnamon essential oil has the greatest antimicrobial potency against Streptococcus mutans, which we know, I said already, remember that's the biggest culprit against cavities. So cinnamon has an impact on strep mutans when chlorhexidine never did. Okay, so love that. So many benefits to cinnamon, and I love cinnamon flavor. Not everybody does, but I love it. I think it adds a very pleasing flavor to the On Guard. Okay, eucalyptus, antibacterial activity against cardiogenic and periodontopathic bacteria has been studied in countless studies. So what that means is very effective against the bacteria that causes cavities and gum disease. Okay, so in 19th century England, I found this to be fascinating. Eucalyptus oil was used to clean urinary catheters in hospitals. And the reason this is fascinating to me is because that's where the biofilms would cause biofilm infection. So if eucalyptus was effective in cleaning catheters in the hospital in the 1700s, reason would suggest that it still is effective in treating or having an impact on biofilms today. Okay, so very powerful agents in eucalyptus. Okay, rosemary, been proven to help with bad breath. There are a lot of different advantages to using rosemary. Again, a lot of people talk about the research that it shows it can help improve oral health, improve gum health. It can prevent gingivitis, cavities, plaque buildup, and a lot of different reasons why people love rosemary. Okay, so here's some of the studies I wanted to show you about On Guard. Jennifer Edens is a specialist in medical microbiology. She's got more than 21 years of research, probably more than that now. She's been conducting research with On Guard at a hospital in Colorado. And specifically, she wanted to see how effective it was against MRSA. So MRSA is a very, very nasty antibiotic-resistant strain of bacteria. And she wanted to know, okay, does On Guard kill MRSA or does it just inhibit the growth of MRSA? It's an important distinction, okay? So she took these Petri dishes and filled them with a soy-based broth, right? And she added 1/6 of 1 drop of On Guard to broth. So just a very small amount. And then she colonized these dishes and incubated them for 8 hours. And look at the difference, okay? If you're online and they may not be able to see that really well, Heather.
I pulled up my slides on here. They're watching them on
Okay,
here, and
perfect.
I'm going as you go. So
right.
they see you and the slides.
Okay, so that's the top. MRSA without On Guard is the top Petri dish, and you can see how it really grew without any problem. And look at the bottom. Nothing. Nothing. So that is so important for us to know, especially if we're dealing with a patient who has chronic periodontal disease, chronic infection. Chances are we're dealing with tolerant-resistant bacteria, most likely biofilm. We have resources now. We have a weapon that we can try. Something new. It's not going to harm anyone. That is most likely, it's been proven scientifically to have an impact on even the most tolerant-resistant strains of bacteria. So that's really exciting to me. Okay, so here's some other advantages and I guess studies proven about the effectiveness of On Guard. And I know it's overwhelming, but that's kind of the point. I want you to see that there's so much research out there about the benefits of On Guard. It has an impact on influenza. That was published in 2010. We know that it decreased infectious particles by 90% when it was dealing with viruses. So it's antiviral as well. Okay, now the people that did these studies had no links to doTERRA or On Guard at all. I think it's important that you understand a lot of these studies and resources that I'm quoting, articles published in the chemotherapy magazine, for example, they have no links to doTERRA or any essential oil company at all. Okay, so On Guard has an entire family of products, and we've advocated for the use of On Guard in dentistry for a long time. Essentially, they're toothpaste. Okay, there's no fluoride in this toothpaste. Dental hygienists may bemoan the lack of fluoride. Some of the naturally, holistically minded patients celebrate the lack of fluoride. I don't care where you are on that fluoride scale, but what I want to know is I want to know what benefits does it provide for those who are opposed to fluoride or don't have fluoride. And there's a couple of compelling ingredients, right? The calcium hydroxyapatite is known to help remineralize enamel, so that's the same method of action as fluoride does. So we want something that will help remineralize enamel, especially if the patient has a Diet Coke habit or likes to suck on a butterscotch candy or is taking medications to dry their mouths. They often need active remineralization to avoid decay or problems. Okay, so that's an important component of the On Guard. There's other things that are included in the On Guard toothpaste and oral products that maybe aren't in some of the other On Guard blends. Okay, wintergreen. Wintergreen is often used in creams and massages because of the soothing properties. In fact, wintergreen and birch are the only plants in the world that contain methyl, I can never say that word, salicylate naturally, okay? Try saying that one 3 times fast, right? Okay, so wintergreen, I love wintergreen flavored anything. I think those wintergreen lifesavers are like at the very, very top, right? So I love that. When diffused, I think wintergreen is also uplifting, okay? And analgesic effect is also important. I mean, all of these benefits are really important when it comes to oral health, okay? Peppermint. Peppermint's probably another one of my favorite products. I would say the peppermint beadlet is my favorite product that doTERRA has made up until now. The mouthwash might trump that one, but I love peppermint. Here's the thing, peppermint is more effective at controlling plaque formation than chlorhexidine. Peppermint is an awesome agent to use, especially for patients that tend to build up plaque. So anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, especially against the herpes simplex virus, which is awesome to know because if you have a patient that gets chronic cold sores, all you have to do is hit it with peppermint right when you first start feeling it bubble up, and it'll often chase it. Okay, so a lot of benefits to peppermint. Myrrh, you know, it's so interesting. Frankincense, gold, and myrrh were very, you know, I guess famous gifts. And one has to wonder why frankincense and myrrh. Well, I think I know now. The healing properties are really, really amazing. Okay, so we look at myrrh. It's an anti-inflammatory, freshens breath, can relieve inflammation in the mouth and gums, all very important. When patients used the Guard Toothpaste after 3 weeks, this is what was found. The findings were tooth color was improved by 34%, plaque formation reduced by 63%. Really important components, great benefits for the toothpaste. Okay, so we have that whole family of on-guard products, but we've been missing the mouth rinse. Okay, and like we said, we've had to go outside of doTERRA's product line to get the benefits from that. We used Tooth and Gum Tonic for a while. We used other products for a while, but now we have the mouthwash. We're so excited about that. Okay, so the same benefits, the same healing properties and antibacterial benefits that the on-guard oils and the other family products provide are now available in the mouth rinse. So people don't have to mix their own. It's all right there. Some people can even add a drop of other things here and there to improve the effectiveness of the mouth rinse. Okay, so here's some other things that you guys are getting excited about. It has xylitol in it. So this is such a key element. Xylitol has been proven to really be a known cavity fighter. So this is something to celebrate. By the way, the On Guard toothpaste also has xylitol in it. Okay, so therapeutic xylitol in both of those. So we love this. Okay, we love that patients can rinse, and its antimicrobial agent is something that I think every single patient needs to use day to day. You doing all right? Oh yeah, that might be good. And other side probably maybe not the right size. What's this one? You grab it. I grabbed one. Sorry guys, hang on. With all the technical difficulties getting set up, I didn't think they could connect the power, which is always probably a good thing. Good thing we got a good team here. What was the mismatch? Okay, hold on. I'm getting to it.
I thought I missed it.
There's a slide for you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys noticed that because I did not. So yeah, I'm getting to it. So we talked about all of the oils so far. So now let's talk about the xylitol for just a second, because I think it's important that those of you that aren't in the dental professionals already know the positive impact of xylitol. Those that are not need to understand how critical it is. Okay, so xylitol is a natural sweetener made from tree bark that is an incredible product. I mean, it really, really is. So it's great for use with diabetics. It's known to actively, well, it deactivates pancreas. Get some kind of feedback from the. Okay, so somebody got really excited about the xylitol. Okay, so sugar from tree bark, it helps neutralize the pH of the oral environment, which is really important for patients that have chronic infection or disease. Usually it's a pH imbalance they're dealing with. Improves saliva flow. And one of the reasons why I think it's a great product to have in mouth rinses is it tastes better, right? It can really help improve the flavor. Okay, so let's talk real quick about the impact xylitol can have on cavities in kids. You know, decay in children is the #1 childhood disease. It's 5 times more prevalent than asthma, which is the #2. It's a big problem in our society. And I think sometimes, you know, we hear the frustrations of mothers, right, Heather? Mothers that say, gosh, no matter what we do, we brush, we floss, and my kids always have cavities. I had one of these conversations not very long ago, and I said, okay, talk to me about snacking. Talk to me about snacking habits. And the mom's like, well, she likes her Sour Patch Kids. I'm like, well, there you go. All right, Sour Patch Kids are almost as acidic as battery acid. Right? Some of these candies and products that are made for kids are awful, awful. And people just don't have sense of it, right? They don't have sense of it. That's part of our calling as dental hygienists, is we're trying to educate our patients about what could be causing chronic disease and chronic infection, especially with kids that get cavities. Sometimes, sadly, it's not their fault. It's just a scientific equation that's not balanced. It's not right in their mouth. And so often getting to the root of it. That's why people often ask about soft drinks or juice, things like that can have an impact. Okay, so we mentioned this a little bit before. We're dealing with bacteria that's often transferred from parent to child before they're even a year old. That's just the reality of decaying kids. And here's proof of that. This is bacteria on a binky and a spoon, both of which have been in the mouth of a baby. And that strep mutans growing there. That's Streptococcus mutans, the lead culprit in causing cavities. So this is the problem. This is what we're up against, right? So here's what we know about xylitol. In a family where mom says, no matter what I do, I brush my floss, I always have a problem, or guys who do it in my family, if mom uses xylitol, therapeutic dose 3 to 5 times a day, all while they're pregnant, for the first 2 years of the child's life, the 2 years, then at age 5, there's 70% fewer cavities. So we can dramatically reduce cavities. But we got to use that. That's why I was so excited that it's in the mouth rinse and it's in the toothpaste. 3 to 5 times a day. Okay? Now, are they going to brush 3 to 5 times a day? No. Are they going to use a mouth rinse 3 to 5 times a day? No. But one of the things that we love about our science, our research, is you can go downstairs, you can buy a little spritz, and you dump a little bit of that mouth rinse into a spritz. And you do just a small amount, 3 to 5 times a day throughout the day, and that can have a dramatic impact on keeping the bacterial load under control. And it's every time it's applied, it's a dose of xylitol. Okay, so there's workarounds that we can do to help patients win when it comes to this battle. Okay, so pediatric dentistry is important. Somebody asked about Niswak, right? I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. It's from a tree in El Salvador that used to be used by the natives to clean their teeth, right? So essentially, what is the toothbrush? It's really just a stick with some bristles on the end of it, right? For many years, they actually used sticks. And it helps control plaque formation. So there's an extract that this tree releases, these twigs release, that help clean teeth and reduce plaque buildup. Who knew? I did not know that. But it's in the mouthwash because it helps reduce excessive plaque buildup. If we reduce the plaque in the mouth, one could also suggest, and we're also able to reduce it where? In the rest of the body. Okay? So again, we're trying to diminish bacterial load, really improve health. Okay, so here's another element, another ingredient in the On Guard formula. Cyclodextrin has been shown in mice to dissolve cholesterol crystals and prevent plaque formation. So yet another element to help us reduce plaque. Okay, really exciting, and of course all of the credit for the research is there as well. Okay, so we've reviewed so many studies, all of which highlighted benefits of using essential oils in dentistry. So we really teach hygienists and dentists how to use essential oils in a variety of ways in their practices. We love to see it used as a preoperative rinse. So hygienists, sit the patient down, mouthful of nastiness. The first thing you grab is your ultrasonic. And what do? We're going after the nastiness. But what does that do? That releases aerosols into the air, which granted we have masks and eye protection on, but we're still going to, be at risk. We're still exposed to some of it, right? So I love to do a pre-operative rinse where we're reducing the bacterial load and having an impact before we do anything, whether we are doing fillings or anything at all. We're having a pre-operative rinse with that. Okay, so here's what that does. It reduces the bacterial load immediately. Plus, as patients try the mouth rinse, they typically like it, which means we want to take them home, which helps us accomplish our end goal of getting them healthier. Okay, so we also use it as a natural fluoride alternative. So those patients that are opposed to fluoride on principle, we go through a whole thing about 3 steps to help every patient see the value in fluoride. I'm a huge advocate for fluoride. I know that probably won't make me very popular with some who have a different opinion. However, I will tell you that when we have a logical conversation about fluoride, I can almost always get people to understand the importance of it in the proper dosage amount. Okay, but for those who just won't have the conversation or are not interested in going there, we will polish their teeth with MI paste, which is a remineralization product. And then we crack open a bottle of the mouth rinse, they swish with it chairside, and they take the bottle home. Okay, so we really haven't lost any productive capacity, if you will, for the patients who decline the fluoride. And I found patients get really excited about it because the way we can meet them in the middle, okay, and meet them where they are. And I'm much happier giving them something with xylitol in it and other benefits, other products that can help reduce plaque and reduce disease than something they're mixing up at home, which who knows what it's got. Okay, so that's one of the ways we use it. We also irrigate with essential oils after scaling and reclaiming. So for many years, we taught to subgingivally irrigate with chlorhexidine. Well, recent research has also proven that that's not effective. The gingival pervasive fluid replaces itself 40 times an hour. And so therefore, there's no long-term value. But with essential oils, they can actually penetrate into, they work on the cellular level. So they don't have to just hold in the crevicular fluid to have a benefit. It actually penetrates into the tissue, penetrates into the cellular wall of the bacteria, and there are ingredients in On Guard that actually help with healing. Okay, so that's why we use it as a subgingival irrigation. Yes?
I know some insurances cover chlorhexidine. Do you think they would cover?
Yeah, so the question is, some insurance companies cover chlorhexidine. Honestly, we never charge separately for subgingival irrigation of any product. It was just included in our scaling and reclaiming processes and our services. I frankly don't see a lot of insurance companies paying for any product. Their medical insurance may have gotten it if they pick it up at a pharmacy, but the people that you hand the prescription to go get it at the pharmacy, what percentage of those do you think actually comply and go get it? You want to know? I know. 5%. Only 5% follow through. Think about it. The patients that need these products don't follow through. So why am I going to give them a prescription and expect them to stop? You know, they need everything in their hands when they leave. That's my opinion. If we really are committed to patient service, we fight to get them everything they need in their hands when they leave. And that's what I'll tell patients. Listen, I know how busy you are. I know how hard it is for you to make one more stop. We're going to provide everything that you need here before you leave. You know, and we can often provide it to you for less than you'll pay at Walmart or Target or some of those. And some of these products they can't get over the counter. They're prescription strength products that we're talking about. So great point, because a lot of people say, oh, I'd much rather just write my patient a prescription and let them fill it. They don't fill it. So if we want them to have products that are going to help, they got to have it. Okay. So, and then of course at home use. We talked about at home use, a variety of ways that we recommend them be used at home. Another huge fan, I'm a huge fan of the peppermint beadlets. I almost always have them in my pocket. My husband informed me today that one of my beadlets went to the dryer, which I'm not surprised by, but I want to cry just a little bit because I'm like, dang it, it's a brand new bottle. But I like seriously live on these things. And it's amazing how many times I'll share them with patients, I'll share them with other dental professionals, and like, where do I get those? How do I get that? Okay, it's like a little bit of crash for dentistry because like they love them. And I just think they're great. There's so many advantages of having them use that every day. And I'm a huge fan of the On Guard beadlet too. On Guard beadlet takes a little bit more of an acquired taste getting used to. But once they get it, they do love it. Okay? Once they get it, they're willing to do it. Kids not nearly as receptive to the On Guard beadlets. Okay, so just keep in mind, anybody that has compromised health, we're going to want to begin talking with them about, making sure we're reducing the bacterial load in their mouth because that's going to help them impact the health of the rest of their body. Okay, so we teach a process by which we're doing a risk assessment on every single patient. We do a caries risk assessment. In many practices that we coach and work with, we're teaching the hygienists how to do that. And we're looking for those risk factors that mean they are prone to cavities. And anybody who's got a high risk for decay, we're very active about recommending products that can help them win. So it was said it was published in the Journal for Minimally Invasive Dentistry that a patient with symptoms yet no evidence of disease is merely a patient with a disease that has yet to manifest as symptoms. So a patient with risk factors. If they have risk factors, it could be that they don't have cavities yet, but it's only a matter of time. Okay, so that's why it's an important process. Part of what we offer, we should be doing risk surveys on adults and kids. And anybody who's high risk, they really do need a higher level conversation about how they can win. Because what we typically hear from patients is, No matter what I do, I brush my floss, I always have a problem. It seems like every time I come in here, I have more cavities. And their frustration often is transmitted to us, like it's our fault somehow. I don't quite get that, but they are frustrated. And what's powerful is when you take the time to have the conversations with them about what they can do day to day, it changes everything. It literally changes everything. They become very invested in their own health. Some still don't care. And what I've decided is we have to work with the willing and help them see what they can do differently. But often if they know what they can do differently and how to do it, and we help make it easy for them to get these products, we see so many patients turn a corner, and it's really a rewarding thing. I had a lady come up to me. She's actually a consulting client, and she said, "Wendy, I gotta tell you, my daughter asked before I left to come to this meeting if I was going to see you." And she said, "A year ago, you probably don't remember, but a year ago, I was telling you how my daughter just had this asthma attack, and I carry my seminar in a bag where I go, and in that seminar in a bag, I often have between 8 and 10 different essential oils, depending on what I'm dealing with at the time, or I'm in an airplane every single week, and as well as I do, those are just tin cans of contagion, and people are coughing and sneezing, and the air is recirculated, and I just hate it. So I had Breathe in my bag, and I had lavender, and I had done all this research about what they were doing with lavender for biofilm asthma infections, and I said, have her try these. My research is showing us that they're tremendously beneficial for asthmatic patients. And she said it's been a year, and she had just had an asthma attack that had put her in the hospital, and she hasn't had one asthma attack, and she's off all of her prescription medications. And she said, will you find her and tell her thank you, please? So this is how I use doTERRA. I don't even actively, I send people to Heather all the time. Because I have conversations about essential oils in dentistry, but I don't feel very well equipped to have conversations about essential oils outside of dentistry. I probably could at this point, but I just send them all to Heather. And she follows up and gets them what they need and handles all of that for me. But honestly, people have other challenges in their lives. And when we can help them, once you really dive in, if you're just getting familiar with how essential oils work, I think you'll find that there's a lot of different ways you could use them yourselves with your own families as well, not just with your patients. And that's what's exciting to me, is I see other hygienists across the country that we work with get really excited about the impact. One said, oh my gosh, such tremendous help with my restless leg syndrome. Other people have used them with their kids. There's a lot of different benefits once you really dive in. But I wanted to give you a good master class on how we use them in dentistry. Okay, so Heather, talk to me about the pricing for the On Guard mouthwash, because they're going to want to know.
On Guard mouthwash wholesale is $14.50.
Okay, retail is
$20.
$20. Okay, so here's the thing. People might think, oh my gosh, $20 for mouthwash. But when you look at what else is out there, Dental Herb Company, which is a product I advocated for a long time, same size bottle, sells on Amazon for $34. Okay, here's the thing, it's a great product. I love Dental Herb Company, but it doesn't have xylitol. It's not effective against cavities, and it uses lavender and other herbal elements, and it tastes foul. So when you compare the taste of strip tooth gum tonic with the On Guard, it's night and day. And I want one product that can do multiple things for people. So that's one of the reasons why we started this crazy journey, is to try and figure out, okay, in a perfect world, what would I want in one rinse? And we're happy to say that's what we've got. Okay, so that's exciting. So I think when you look at how we use essential oils to impact patient health, that's awesome. We just talked through a lot of different ways we can do that. Diffusing them in the treatment rooms is also powerful. I teach a lecture called the World-Class New Patient Experience. We talk through a lot of different elements, and one of the first things patients notice when they walk into the dental practice is the smell. Okay, and a lot of practices, if they're older practices, there's a smell that must have just been absorbed into the plaster, and also I don't get it. But I walk in and I'm like, nope, too clinical.
I'm hoping that she'll give a link.
Very first step.
Download this.
We also feel strongly about that as well. But honestly, it's really change. So we put together diffuser packages for practices, and we'll go to meetings, and I'll present the stuff, and people yep, I want one for each treatment room. So they'll order 7 diffuser packages for each treatment room or each clinical patient room that they have, and then they want the essential oils to replenish that. We set them up on a loyalty rewards program to where the wild orange, that's my favorite. People like lavender too. but I found more patients like appreciate the wild orange versus the lavender. That's just my experience. Lavender makes you a little bit tired, which is not a bad thing when you're in the dental chair. Yeah, but it makes the hygienist tired. Yeah, that's a problem. And wild orange is more stimulating. So anyway, smells good, but also therapeutic benefits. So that's something to think about too. We have overwhelming amount of science that can go through, research that shows there is a measurable impact for reducing anxiety with both wild orange and lavender. Okay. Again, there's a really great commercial too. Vanderbilt Hospital has started using diffusers and essential oils in all of their ERs, and it's had a tremendous impact. So that's a really great commercial because of our questionable video playing. I'm not going to play it. Okay, so again, this was published in Dentistry IQ in 2013 about how they use diffuse essential oils in the operatory and how effective that is. So again, lots of information about how we can use essential oils to reduce anxiety. Okay, so that's another avenue that we're seeing practices use essential oils very effectively. So sometimes hygienists say, okay, I really want us to start using essential oils. We're going to start with the diffusers because I can at least get them to buy into that. And then there's a longer conversation about how to get the doctors and other team members to be excited about essential oils. Some of you may not need that. I will tell Heather, some hygienists can say to their doctors, I want to do this, and they say, okay. Other times we have a little bit more of a fight, a little bit of a battle on our hands to really help them see the value of investing in these products for us to use in patients. So depending on what kind of practice you're in, we have tremendous success with practices that have used these products for a long time. And what I've done is I put together like a caries threat package and a periodontal threat package. And I'll put together like an on-guard V-lit, and I actually have a basic and supreme. So I'll tell the patient, listen, we've got a basic and a supreme package. How crazy do you want to get, or what best fits your budget at this point? And I'll let the patient kind of choose their own path. And if they want everything we've got, then we just put it all in a package. It's got the mouth rinse, it's got the toothpaste in it, it's got typically the supreme package for periodontal disease also has the on-guard V-lits, and it has peppermint V-lits as well. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that we deploy that. We're happy to share that information with you on the package that we put together, and we help other dental practices use. Okay, so again, I think at this point, let's stop for just a second. We'll talk about the quality of oils. I kind of mentioned Listerine. One of the main flaws, in my opinion, with Listerine is the quality of the oils that they use. We don't want chemically based essential oils. We want plant-based. And I want essential oils that are targeted not just to freshen the breath. That's an important part of it. But I also want cariogenic and anti-cariogenic and anti-periodontal bacteria to be effective. So I want oils that will actually have an impact on those bacteria strains as well. Okay, so let's do this. Let's open up for any questions you have about using essential oils in your practice and how we help you get started with some of that. And then we'll see if anybody also on the Zoom has questions. And then what we'll probably do is there's actually more dental professionals here than I thought we would get, just because, well, you guys are awesome. But it's a Tuesday night, and some of you guys had a full patient load today. And you're probably like, okay, can she just be done? Just go away. Probably so ready to get done. So why don't we do this? Go ahead and take some questions, and then we'll take a little bit of a break. We'll visit with the dental professionals for just a minute before they go, and then the wellness advocates stay here, okay, because I want to talk with you. We're going to have a different conversation about how you can have more of an impact with dentists and hygienists that you know, helping them see, that we now have all this information available. Okay, so questions. What have you got? Yes.
Is it true that a lack or even a genetic lack of collagen can cause more cavities?
So is it true that a genetic lack of collagen can cause more cavities? I think a genetic lack of collagen, in my opinion, okay, I'd have to do some research and actually see if it's been linked to that. Not off the top of my head am I aware of anything like that, but there are collagen fibers in your tissues. So I would think a genetic lack of collagen would have a bigger impact on your risk of periodontal disease, more so than cavities. Okay, that's just my initial response, but I would love to dig into that. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
So if you're presenting this to us, how do you get past the ADA says we should use?
Yeah, so do we have the video brochure? Do we have that video brochure anywhere? Heather, can you get that for me? And then also, so here's what we got. The ADA is a really great professional association. But I find they're about 15 to 20 years behind the times. Okay? Most dentists, when they really stop and think about it, probably would agree. This has not been safety tested or approved by the ADA or the FDA. It's too new of a product. Frankly, the FDA cannot approve the beneficial efficacy of essential oils because they're naturally occurring substances. They cannot be patented, therefore they have no interest in promoting the benefit. Okay, so I would say, you know, what we've done is we've created an overwhelming body of research that is kind of like in your face. You really can't argue with more than 350 reference scientific studies. Thank you. We also put together a video brochure. Now, here's the thing. doTERRA just announced this mouthwash when, Heather?
Oh my goodness.
A week ago?
A week ago.
Okay. So a lot of these materials were actually designed to support different products that had such smells. So we have not completed the rebranding process yet. It's in process. We don't even have these. I'm not even going to give these to anybody tonight because they don't have the right information in them yet. But this is an example of a leave behind folder that our doTERRA wellness advocates and other dental professionals like myself will actually take a doctor or a hygienist that says, hey, I'd like information about how to use these in my practice. And you'll see what are essential oils, how are they used in dentistry, science, our credentials, who we are, what gives us the impact to speak about this. And it's article after article after article on how essential oils are used, the science behind them, the medical board, all the studies, on-guard studies in here, all of the studies. So we kind of smack them over the head with the science. Dentistry Today.
Well, that's what
article.
we want.
That's what they want. Well, we all do, right? We all do because we want to make sure that we're making good choices. We're recommending effective products to our patients. We want to know the science. All of us do. And we certainly wouldn't advocate products that we don't feel were effective to patients, right? So all of these have like page after page, their own magazines, their own Dentistry Today, Dentistry IQ, and then here on this, it's all of the published studies that I found were really compelling about how to, it's page after page after page of studies. Okay, this is one tool. This is another tool. You ready? This is like my secret.
I know, like seriously, are you ready?
When I
Like,
open it, the angels will be singing. No, no, this is seriously, like I have 3 or 4 different versions of this. For example, okay, I met the president of Zions Bank in an elevator. And he said, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a speaker and consultant. I work with dentists across the country. He said, huh, that's interesting. I had a division in my bank called the Practice Pathways, and we fund dental practices, acquisitions, developments. Could you help our people? And I was like, heck yes. And I said, let me give you this brochure. Just see a little bit more about who I am and what I do, right? So then check this out. I didn't give him this actually. I gave him one about me and what I do, right? But yeah, here, let's open this. And this video plays. This video is loaded. This brochure is loaded with, there's Katie, some testimonials from hygienists and dentists that use essential oils in their practice, okay, as well as video from Dr. Dave battling biofilms. What does that even look like? How are essential oils effective? The video I just showed you without the audio hiccup, right? Patient tools, optimal results. So we load videos here, and they will be revised to include all the great new information we have about the on-guard mouth rinse. Okay, the design will be changed somewhat. We will have all of this about doTERRA. Like I said, we created products, and we had to put our effort behind products that use doTERRA essential oils in them until doTERRA came out with the right. Okay, and now we're shifting. We're like rapidly shifting and evolving to be able to say, hey, we've got on-guard now in a mouth rinse, and this is how we're going to use it. But none of this has been rebranded yet. So when you say, how do you get the dentist interested? We wow them. Here's the science, here's the research. Now, hygienists. If some random person you didn't know came to your office and just left this with the video brochure, it's compelling enough that you're going to take a look at it, right? And when you look through the science and you see what's in here, and it's going to pique your interest, see, that's why we created the tools. It's because sometimes wellness advocates have friends and family that are dentists, but they really don't know how to approach them. This is how.
Can you show that a little bit closer, the video brochure, just because I love the magic of that?
White? I can get my nails done.
So that you guys online can see this. She's
Okay.
coming in close. This is
I
the
don't know.
video.
You're going to have to guide me, Heather. Cause that's
You're right there.
So that's the video that launches. There's a whole bunch of buttons. Yeah, it's going to just have the new information about the doTERRA product because it didn't exist when we put all this together. So it's going to be all the new information about the mouth rinse. It's going to be added. So we should have these available. Well, the mouth rinse launches November 1st. Our hope is to have all of these materials ready a week to 10 days before that. Yeah. You have to order these. These actually are pretty pricey. They're about $65 a piece for us to make them, but they're a really great tool. Yeah. So that's part of what I want the wellness advocates to stay after because we've created a whole kit that can help you have some of these conversations, and these are just a couple pieces from that. Okay, but
and I mean, for hygienists, we know a lot of, like, I know a lot of doctors who use those essential oils at home, but obviously you don't want to give anything to your patients without that wealth of science behind it. So it makes sense that they're a little bit weary, but it's nice to have all those tools to take to your dentist.
And Katie uses essential oils-based mouth rinses and products with her patients right now, and they can't get enough of it.
Yeah, we can't keep ourselves stocked. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I mean, especially in this area. If you guys are from this area local, I would assume. I mean, we have doTERRA right here. I mean, everyone's heard of it. So it's easy to kind of approach the subject. And I have patients who come in and they say, oh, excuse the smell, I've been working out and I just use Deep Blue. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Like, that's when I just jump right in.
So that's the other thing that we really haven't talked about too, that Katie mentioned is our own bodies. I mean, we take a beating when we're taking care of patients. And so Deep Blue is my favorite. I actually like past tense better than this because then you don't smell like a locker room, in my opinion. Past tense is a roller ball that just helps relieve all of those tight muscles in our neck and our shoulders. And for those specific practicing hygiene for any period of time, honestly, I meet so many clinicians who love what we do, but they just physically can't do it anymore. So we have to be really careful to take care of ourselves too. So we have a lot of hygienists that are like, man, you know, I'm loving them and using them at home. And so that's what I want to take a quick break just to kind of get a sense for where you guys are. We have information. I don't know, are any of you hygienists already wellness advocates? Raise your hands. Okay, so you guys, you got it. You're good. Those that are not, I wanted to at least have a conversation with you about where you are, because you can sign up to be a wellness advocate and get up. I would actually recommend you start with like a personal kit that you could use at home. You can sign up and put your own kit together, but honestly, then if you are able to get your doctors at least interested in having the conversation, I wouldn't approach it as, oh, you'll go under me or anything like that, because that is another reason they're kind of like, okay, hold on, but we can help you know how to have the conversation about, listen, let's sign the practice up for your wholesale account because it's a tax benefit. Okay, so there's a lot of business savvy reasons why that makes sense. And so we kind of help, we've learned how to speak this language to really help them understand the why and how. So we can help you, you know, I think the first step is to figure out, okay, do I want to use this myself? And if so, then we can certainly help you through that process. And then if you really want information on your practices, here's the other way that you can have a conversation. We do free lunch and learns. So we'll do a webinar where we do the whole scientific review. We provide 1 CE credit hour for your office. We've got a whole team of hygienists across the country that will do that. They won't come physically in your office and they won't bring you lunch. You got to bring your own.
If you're local, we might be able to.
Maybe able to.
Yeah. It is easier with the webinar, especially with you guys. I mean, you know how the schedules are very fluid in a dental office.
Yeah, sometimes we're like planning to show up and you guys are like, hey, we were running over. So sometimes it just doesn't work. It's easier to just do it via webinar. We can record it, and if anybody's running late or isn't able to be there, then you can play back later. But that's another way that we help you have a conversation with your doctors. And Dr. Dave's an incredible voice. Sometimes they want to hear from one of their own, right? And he's awesome. He's, like I said, his credentials are really impressive. I mean, to say, okay, he's a Harvard-trained endodontist, studied the brain and neurochemistry at MIT, did oral surgery continuum in Austria, like, they get it. When he talks, the doctors will listen. So that's one of the reasons why we have a whole series of videos that we've produced as well, for you to use when you're having some of those conversations. So awesome. Any other questions? Let's go ahead and take a quick break. And then maybe anybody that wants information about packages and doTERRA information or what have you, follow Katie. And Heather, you're still manning the computer?
Yep, I'm still manning it.
Okay. So, but we'll go ahead and take a break. Let's do like a 5-minute break. So those that are on Zoom call, be patient, 5 minutes, and we'll be back. Does that sound good?
Yeah, they can take a
Okay, take a
break.
5-minute break, pee, get
Do you
water,
have
whatever you need to do.
certificates?
Okay,
No,
and
no.
then wellness advocates, just come on up here to the front, and we're going to
I do Brad send certificates.
we have these certificates for you to have too.
Not with you. That's all right.
Oh yeah, and hygienist, before you leave, we have CE too.
You're right here with us.
So
are we good to leave after this, or what?
yeah,
Sure, yeah. So if you're wellness advocate, stay.
Okay.
But if you're not, then you probably, this
And
next
then-
conversation's gonna be a different language.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just, throw your name on there, and there's your CE. If you want more information, put down,
Oh, I've got pens.
and then if you want more information, throw your
those are
email.
mine. Thank you. Sorry.
Throw your email down on here, and we'll send a follow-up email, and you can ask us
I
questions
got more
or
pens
get us
too,
in
if
your
anybody
office.
When you
Whatever, yeah.
describe
Don't
the
steal them.
taste to people, how do you say? Because imagining all those flavors are.
Right.
It
So the
sounds not very
xylitol makes
good,
it sweet.
but okay.
Are you talking about the rinse, the mouthwash?
Yeah.
So if you want to try it,
Uh-huh.
there's some in the spray bottle there, or you can just open it and smell it if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, open it and smell it.
It smells like craft store.
It smells like, everybody says Christmas.
No, it smells like if you like walk into a craft store.
Okay,
Like in fall,
yeah,
like
it's a spray.
the-
Just do it. It's brand new, so just keep
My
doing
mom
it. Yeah.
sells this stuff. Every time I'm like, okay.
It's the pine cones.
Yes.
That's what it is. You look really familiar. Do I know you? Okay. I'm like, wait, you look really familiar. But yeah, that's it, huh? Especially at Christmas time, because you walk in and the pine cones are like,
Cinnamon.
yeah, it is.
What about? So I know there's people for like cinnamon.
Yeah. Yep. So in that case, I always tell them, that's when I go to the oils. So I say if you're allergic to the cassia or the cinnamon, then
No, you're
yeah,
good. I'm just
grab
gonna
the
try and mute
lavender,
myself if
like
I can
that.
figure out where to
Usually
go.
goes to just
There.
The next part of the conversation really is going to be about how wellness advocates can initiate the conversation. So you're welcome to stay. If you guys want to, you can just sign up. I think they're just collecting emails. and we'll follow up and send you some information or whatever it is that you want. You are welcome to stay. But like I said, those that are already wellness advocates probably
Grab your
get more out of
seat,
this
too.
conversation than those who aren't. It's just a different language. I don't really know how to explain it other than that. So, good deal.
That's right.
How we doing, Heather? I didn't even-
Good. I'm just reading through the chats really quick. Somebody said love Dr. Dave. Like, who doesn't? Like, he's a great speaker. He's great.
Oh, okay. No problem. Just have him email you. We ended a little bit early. It's not a problem. I probably just didn't tell them that. It is freezing. We'll give them another one. It is cold.
I know, I noticed that. I'm
Yeah.
not really
I'm at least on sleep. Okay, good. So throw them on there and we'll fix it.
My name's Katie Smith.
Genius.
Or-
Technology.
Isn't that the best? When that was presented to me, then they moved on. I was like,
Yeah, you know
whoa,
what? Just give them
back up for a second.
Yeah.
What was that magic? Like, holy cow, that's so cool.
I mean, really.
You've got Dr. Dave in here speaking.
I
You've
mean,
got like,
just the
Oh.
look of it is so professional, so well done. I'm not a hygienist, but so impressed.
that's me neither, and I'm impressed. Like that's, but it's so cool because when you go to like Biofilms, look, you've got Dr. Dave Stoyer speaking the language. Like I can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I'm
Sorry.
gonna go ahead and start up.
All right.
For those that need to go, because I know you're
I'll
probably
just
like,
shake everybody
we're
around.
close to the end time. Is everybody good? Everybody can see? Okay, so the next part of the conversation really is, in fact, I probably should, hey Tara, will you grab me that box? I'm sorry. Also with that slip cover on it. Yeah, that's great. So the video brochure and the leave behind folder were a couple of resources that we put together into this kit that can help wellness advocates understand how to. Anyway, it goes over here, so that's the thing. Shoot, I love that. So what we started to do is we had a few classes like this. We did a couple of big courses, like we had events at a couple residential houses, and we started doing some of these programs where we were helping wellness advocates know how to have a conversation. I couldn't tell you how often we heard, I've got dentists that are interested or hygienists that I know that I've tried to talk to this about, and it's kind of tough to get through the door, right? We know this, being in the profession, we're like, yep, we got guard dog gate, because you can't, I mean, they get so much information for people that may or may not really want to talk. So that's the way that we helped, empower the wellness advocates with resources and tools to actually be able to have the conversation with their customers or with dentists and hygienists in their area. And so we were challenged after a while. They said, can you create more resources or put it together in a package for us? So that's what we did. And here's the thing, that's what I do for a living. I create training tools. I create a system that can help people take the system, apply the system, and see an impact, right? I started doing it in dental practices. Hygienists, hey, you want to take really good care of your patients and help them see the value in some of these services that may not be covered by insurance, here's exactly what you do, right? I still teach that to this day. So when in the very earliest stages of the conversations that we had with Dr. Schmitz and Emily Wright, I said from the very beginning, what your people probably need is a tool, a resource, a training kit that can help them know how to have these conversations at a higher level in a meaningful way with hygienists and dentists and other medical professionals. This does not just stop with dentistry, but we're having this conversation tonight about dentistry because the mouth rinse is new, right? But other dental professionals or medical professionals, sometimes it can be challenging to have that conversation. So Dr. Dave and I got together and we put together an entire program. We filmed hours and hours of video, edited it down, turned it down to bite-sized pieces, and we created this breakthrough blueprint, as we call it, COVID dentistry. Okay, and it's an entire system. Okay, and so this is what we are making available to wellness advocates. We don't have any tonight. We're not going to be handing any out because it's all got to be rebranded. Okay, all the new stuff has to be added. But you are able to order a pre-release. Okay, so as soon as the video brochures are rebranded, as soon as the takeaway or leave behind folders are rebranded, you'll have first access of those. Okay, so all of it's here for you. We have tabs here. There are there's two sections here. One section is for the dentist or the hygienist, the dental practice. The other one is for the wellness advocate. And all of the videos that Dr. Dave and I recorded are here in CDs. Like literally everything is here for you. if you want to just read it instead of watch it, there's a manual, page by page by page of all the science, all the things that we're talking about. So honestly, like this is a master class in all the science and everything I just kind of shared with you, and resources that you can use to pass it along and help you build. So hygienists, if you say, I love doTERRA, I want to build, my opinion is, I'm going to go where I know. I'm going to go to the dentists and hygienists that I already associate with. I'm going to go to my colleagues. I'm going to, if possible, become certified to provide CE, which we do when you order one of these or use this kit. All the slides that we teach, we'll walk you through. You get the PowerPoints that you can actually then be part of our team and teach the webinars over lunch hour to other practices across the country. And when they say, I want to sign up, then we have a process by which we help you build. Okay, we actually, Heather goes and does events at ADHA meetings, at State Dental Association meetings. I'm lecturing again at the AOSH meeting. Guess what they want me to talk about? Essential oils and dentistry. I just screwed up this whole thing. That is just going to be a mess. So guess what? This is what I do. I just pass it off. Thank you, thank you.
Well, will you explain that a little bit more? When you were saying we could well, if we're already a wellness advocate, how do we get help from you?
Yeah, so you can order this kit. Okay, so the Breakthrough Blueprint, we put all those resources and materials in there. And when you do that, you'll be, I guess, more prepared and equipped to have these conversations. And like, these are your people. So I would think that if you're wanting to build with doTERRA, you're going to have a lot more success going this route than the other. We help because we have, when I'm lecturing, and I say, hey, we have an all-natural provide alternative that we recommend. Don't have time to go into it now, but if you want the information, go to essentialoilsofdentistry.com or what have you. They go there, they opt in. That whole list of people that opt in, I send to Heather. And what Heather does is she sends it out to the dentists and hygienists that have purchased the Breakthrough Blueprint or that are on our team, and they're leads. So you guys follow up. They actually get a series of 3 emails afterwards, and sometimes those emails will say, hey, we want a webinar. And then, like, it's already there for you. Okay, so there's a lot of that that's happening, but and again, Katie, my daughter, and a couple of the other hygienists that we have, Robin posted the video of essential oils breaking through the biofilm and causing the bacterial lies, and it had like 4,000 shares. And she did that. Just on social media. Yeah, we have a page called Essential Oils in Dentistry, or Essential Dental Professionals, something like that. And so we'll just post up there, and you're welcome to share, and then it starts the conversation. You know the crazy hygiene forum pages on Facebook, like the Dental Hygienist Talk, or what's the other one? I don't know. There's a ton of them.
What was your Instagram page? I'm so sorry.
The Instagram page?
It's Facebook. It's Essential Dental Professionals.
Yeah. So we're not even very active on that. Can I just be honest with you? We're not active on it. You know why? Because we've been waiting for the mouth rinse. We've been kind of just testing the water, putting our toe in it, waiting for everything to kind of come into place. And now we got it. So now we're going to really kick it into high gear. But there's so much potential out there. Katie made one post about our meeting tonight. And look at how many of y'all showed up. You know, it was just one post. But so what I'm saying is my experience with getting the sense of our profession, like they're ready, they're anxious. We've got to help. We've got to help get the word out. Yes, question.
So are you saying that when you share that information with the dentists and their hygienists, like say in an office, that they need a webinar too, or I mean, what's the process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So she's asking if we share the information, do they need a webinar? So that's part of what we give you with this kit is we take you step by step how we recommend you approach. You leave the leave behind folder and the video brochure to pique their interest. And usually they'll call back or you'll say, I'm gonna come back in 3 days to pick this up. You don't just give them the video brochure, right? I'm gonna come back in 3 days to pick it up. And at that point, people are like, you know, this is really interesting. How can I get more information? Or you say, listen, I offer a free webinar where I can either come to your office or we can do it virtually and I can walk you through the science. So after going through this, and Heather's really great to help, you become the one that can do that webinar. Or you just send them the videos that Dr. Dave and I already produced, and sometimes that's enough. And they're like, yep, I want to order this stuff. And so we put together like kits for the dental practice. You know how doTERRA has like, what's the name of one of the kits? What's your best selling kit, Jen?
Natural
Home
solutions.
Essentials, Natural Solutions, or every old kit, whatever. We have kits like that, so we put together for the dental practice. So it's like so many mouth rinses, so many beadlets of On Guard, so many beadlets of peppermint, so many toothpaste. And it's like basic next level supreme kit. So all of those order forms and everything's in the box. So you just take it and say, where do you want to start? You know, which kit you want for your office, and we also have the diffuser kits, the diffuser order forms. So we have some examples of what those used to look like. But again, I don't want to hand this out because everything's changed. All the pricing's changed, all the kits have changed, but I will show you kind of what they look like. Like we have them, like these are the products.
Are these enrollment kits? Have you set it up as an enrollment kit?
No,
I know you can't.
No, we can't do that because doTERRA doesn't really want to.
Well, yes and no. Are you doTERRA person? So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We created our own kits. So you go in.
You just go in and put it in as 12 mouthwashes, 12 beads, 12. Yes.
But okay, so we built into the cost in our forms that we're updating right now is the $35 membership. So you're not going to say, here's your kit, and then I'm gonna, and we have.
You're saying, okay, it's $11.90 for the supreme kit, and it includes all of these things. And in that,
yes,
the wholesale pricing and the tax benefit for the year. So we walk you through how to do all of that. You get what I'm saying? So, because I can't tell you how many times when we first started this, dentists say, "Oh, my assistant's an advocate, I'll just order through them." And so we're like, "Okay, that's fine, but you really do need to register the practice as your own wholesale account because you get the tax breaks." And so Dr. Dave does an awesome job walking them through as a business owner how they need to think about it. Okay, it's not just ordering stuff and getting it to patients. It's structuring it in such a way that if they have hygienists that want to build or patients that want to build, and can I tell you, most dentists, no, I shouldn't probably generalize, but I would prefer that most dentists just focus on growing their practice, okay, and not be distracted by every bright, shiny new object. But some are going to get passionate about it and excited about it, and we want to cultivate that and help them succeed. Of course we do. Okay, very few dentists are going to. The hygienists are the ones that get excited about building. We get excited about it because many times we realize, hey, you know what? We need a strategy down the road. We want to get out of the op eventually at some point in our lives. And this might be a great way to have supplementary income, as well as we're passionate about it and we want to help our patients. And this is the way we can kind of transfer that once we leave the op.
So are you placing the hygienist not below the dentist, or how are you?
Ideally, the way it depends. It depends on who's to the party first. Okay? If the hygienist is already enrolled and they're to the party first, then the practice goes beneath them. And they're the ones that are going to help educate and coach the practice on how they're going to be the ones who facilitate that in their own practices. Yes, however, if the practice is to the party first, sometimes the doctor says, okay, I'll sign the practice up for the wholesale benefit, and then hygienists that want to build, if you're going to build patients, like they see that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Dr. Dave does a really good job talking them through that structure. Not everybody's going to want to build, and we're completely fine with that. As you know, not everybody that you meet with wants to build. They just want to use it, and they want to be able to get another advantage of the practice having a loyalty reward set up is over time, after 6 months, their discounts. The biggest amount. So the profitability, the profit margin on retailing the product is the highest level. Does that make sense? So really good question. And I don't know that I really want to answer that question on camera. It's kind of a little bit of a sore spot for me with the current situation. We're trying to make the best of it. Most dentists want it to be turnkey, which means they can double their money. That's not possible here. Okay, so we have to instead use the approach of this is the best thing for the patient, whereas it's about patient wellness, and this little bit of extra income to the practice is just a side benefit. That's why I asked. We have some doctors that say, okay, that money will be used for the staff parties, the play money. Okay, and so in that instance, they recognize that this is a way to help improve patient health. And here's the thing. Many of us went into dentistry because we wanted to help people. So that's very much a part of our DNA. It's who we are. It's not all about money. But when you approach some corporate practices or business-minded doctors, if you get shut down by that, reach out to us. We kind of have we're working on a couple things that are in development, but they're not finalized yet. Okay, so that's probably all I can say about that. Yes, one more question?
I use the short.
Yes.
So
I'm dying to know.
Oh,
yeah, I have no idea. What are
and the
reason I have no idea, oh, here we go, is because with all of these changes, with all of the reprinting, we try to make it affordable for everyone. Okay, so the kit itself is $349. Okay, but that includes 10 of the leave behind folders. That includes all of the educational tools, all the videos. They're on we originally included a tablet. That was a disaster.
They're in there.
What?
Is there a thumb drive in there?
Oh yeah, here we go. All the videos are on here. Plug and play. That
You
was
tab-
probably
tablet.
just a tablet
We switched it.
initially. And then we have the leave behind folders. We have the video brochure. You can order additional video brochures as well at our cost for printing. All the order forms are in there, which you don't see here. It's TerraPad order forms for all of the diffuser packages, the kits, the basic next level and supreme, as well as the TerraPad listing all the benefits of essential oils. And when you get this, you piggyback on our capability to offer CE. Okay, so once you feel like you're certified, and then you can actually provide CE through our program. Okay, so that's what it is. It's $349. You can split that up into more comfortable bite-sized pieces. It's like $87. So anybody that doesn't have one yet, you have one, right?
I do.
And Jen has one. Some of you are already using it, and you're just here to figure out how. And some of them online are already using it too. So if you already have it, we wanted to do this update and let you know all the materials are being updated, and we're going to send you digital files of those as soon as they're updated, so you can refresh your kits. And we'll have we have stickers that are going to be going over the rebrand of the video brochures, so you'll be able to we're going to ship everybody the stickers.
And the science,
these are all
brochures, they're
fine
on-
as well.
I'll just rebrand.
They're going to be rebranded, and we're adding the compelling information about the Guard Mouthwash.
Okay, excellent. So we're gonna get an extra set of those.
I don't believe we're shipping out 10 per kit. I don't know that we've really structured how
For leave behind?
kits.
Oh, we'll just give you the
exchange.
just the one sheet in the front is the one that is changed. So we'll be sending you 10 new sheets. So that it's really just the one page. The rest of it's still valid.
So get an X-Acto, slice out this sucker, and replace it. Just have it inserted. So there, I mean, we tried. Here's the thing: we've known this was coming.
Yes.
So when we produced a lot of these videos, we tried to do them in such a way that we wouldn't have to redo them all.
Okay, great.
But there's a few that we're gonna have to redo. You know, a few that we're gonna have to update based on the new content in the mouth rinse and all of the new benefits and the new pricing structure and all of that.
When do you expect it ready?
We would like to have the new blueprints 7 to 10 days before the launch of the mouth rinse. So for this month. We'd like to have it this month.
Oh, I don't need it,
oh
because
yeah,
I
you've
have
already got it. I'm sorry.
You know,
don't
that
need
kind
it
of
yet.
like, yeah, Toby company saying everyone look at it.
Yes.
I know,
No.
I'm so waiting.
No. We literally were working on it today.
We've been working on this nonstop since the release came out. Okay.
We wanted to
have.
have it today.
Yes, we had a reasonable expectation that they may be launching it at convention, but they didn't even know that they were launching it. They didn't know it was going to be ready until it was actually ready, right? And how do we know that? Because there was no release date on Mouthwash. There wasn't everything else. So we've been trying to like play defense without knowing what the offense is doing, which has been a little bit challenging. But we're here. We're ready to roll. We're hitting the ground running as fast as we can. And again, my number one responsibility has always been to the dental profession. You know, I want to help you help your patients at a higher level, but I got passionate about essential oils in my own quest for products that would help my patients win. And what I found was there really wasn't anything out there that ticked all the boxes that I wanted. So we jumped the gun and we tried to make that. Okay, and then now, like I said, now I'm excited to say that doTERRA's got their version and it's awesome. So we're super excited. Thank you so much for coming.
Just a second.
Yes, you
So
bet.
there is a typo on that price list.
Say that
So
again.
there's a typo in the little box about midway. It says 10 packs of leave behind, but it's actually 1 pack of 10.
Gotcha.
It wouldn't let us manipulate it. We had to get it up here. So
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah. So what we do is we give you like, you can order additional ones of these. So we have some people are like, I already left them all. I've left them behind. So we try to like do it. You could probably make them a little bit less impressive, like not do color on every page. But you know what? The whole point behind Leave Behind is to be impressive. So,
But the kids have to be updated, right? So it's
Sure.
more than
Yeah,
one
yeah.
page.
Well, let me say this. So it's that sheet. I went through the whole kit. The binder is pretty much fine. This, it's just a couple of things where it's branded Essential Smiles that we'll rebrand on Guard, but Essential Smiles is not a bad LLC if you're selling to dentists. I'm going to be honest. So we'll get rid of the website on there. the brochure, like you said, is really like
It's
I will
the
be.
first two pages.
It's just that. In fact,
And we may just do an even exchange. So what we might do is, especially if you're local, you come bring them to us. We'll just trade them out, and we'll make the modifications
Sure.
to these and send them out. But if you're not local, don't panic. We'll try and make it so that you've got the information that you need. You take your X-Acto knife, you put in the other pages, and frankly, those pages also work separate. So, for example, if you take these first two pages out, and let's say this is your first page, it just starts all the
it's
research.
fantastic.
So it's a research booklet. It's not like it's weird. You can just have these in a different place. Does that make sense? So we're trying to adjust, and we're trying to adjust it as quickly as possible. So to your point, our expectation is that we'll have it ready before launch, and we're really using all of our resources to make that happen. But we also are limited in some ways. Sometimes you have to depend on the printers to get stuff done, and they were supposed to have new order forms for us tonight, and that didn't happen. So sometimes you can only do what you can do. So we're just trying to make the best of it, right? Like I said, playing a little defense before you know what the offense is doing is a little bit, well, I guess that's how it always goes, but not usually in this instance. Usually have at least a few clues, but yeah.
It is what it is.
We're kind of working blind, but.
The cool thing is, I'll say this, with what I already have, because I've been using this and I adjust as we go, I'll still use the same. All the science is there. I will continue to do that. And honestly, what I put in front of the dentist or the hygienist is what they usually buy. It's just like when you deal with people, like what you recommend, as long as you can explain why that person needs it, that's what they get. And so even though my order form will say these specific things are in the kits, if I have breathe sitting on my table, 9 times out of 10, the male doctors, they want the breathe in their kit. And so I customize it and I work with them, and it's kind of fun. And there's a whole Facebook group that when you buy the kit, you have access to, where we're constantly loading updates and providing you with just whatever
People
new
ask
info.
questions, like, I have this dentist, I'm visiting with a children's specialist, an orthodontist. How do I actually have a conversation with them? Like, what do we need to change? And Heather's super good at being on there, being attentive, and helping you know what to do and how to do it. She's super good at that. And that's good, because sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, something must have happened today, because I'll finish a lecture and I've got like 17 new texts, and I'm like, I don't even have a sense of what's happening. But she's usually really good at a lot of those things. And we've got a great team here. Katie's here building. We've got other hygienists as well on our team. In fact, all of our hygiene coaches that actually go and do our consulting and training, all of them are doTERRA advocates building. They all saw the value in what we do. So it's been an interesting journey, but we're ready for it to just take off right at this point, because now that we've actually got the mouth rinse and we can get PD on it, that's been our biggest challenge. Is for all this time we've had other products that dental practices are buying dozens at a time, but it's no PD. So it got to be a little bit disappointing. So that's when it was really exciting to get PD now. So woohoo, PD.
What's the range of those kits that you put together with your price range?
Oh
yeah, it's right here.
Are you?
$149.
I mean the kits for the dentist. Sorry. Yeah.
Can you go to the next slide? It'll show you. Should we give you examples?
Sorry.
They're not pretty. They're not pictures, but they're there. Hold on.
So
People online, stay with me.
So in the basic kit, we recommend, and like Heather said, you can customize it. We just found that it was really helpful to have the basic, next level, supreme, and using psychology, most of them will buy which one? What's your guess? Next level. Just about all of them. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why we put a basic in there and a supreme, because we want to guide. Now I had one that said, I got 8 different practices. I want each of them to have a supreme. And I was like, yeah, baby. I texted Heather and she's like,
We can do that.
I'm here too.
yeah, supreme's on the next page.
All right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the supreme.
Oh, come on, where did it go?
And guess what else? Guess what else? Now, my dentists in the UK and Australia and Canada have been waiting. doTERRA ships internationally. I could not be more excited about that, because they have been waiting for
Ever.
so long.
Forever.
4 years, some of them.
Not even that much. So everyone should get some free.
From a dental practice perspective, absolutely, because there's so much, but baby steps. We're gonna help them see the value and show them the patients do love the products. One of the things that I find that's so fascinating is we have other speakers and other people that say, we want to be an investor, like we want in on this thing, and we're like, listen, join the team, build with us. That's how we do it. You can't just buy in, but it's been awesome. They really do love the products. So.
Okay, so the kits for the dentist,
practices.
what about for patient? Are they buying these from, or they just
No,
sampling
so we
these?
actually have in this blueprint, I'll walk you through the Carie Start page kits and the Carie Cavity kits. I didn't put a slide up there with that today because we had,
And that's one of the things we do with the lunch and learn. If you're interested in doing it and you're a hygienist, have us do a lunch and learn with you because we go, we go over that risk assessment brochure that she used. That's been my biggest tool at placing that. I mean, like kind of starting the conversation with patients. So we teach you how to present it to patients in a way that they'll buy it from you, as well as how to package it for cavities prevention, kids.
that's part of our process that we help the hygienists know. We help individual practice know how to position it to patients. What's that?
What is that? Is this in the videos? Are you sure?
Yep, we show you how to do that. And like Katie said, when we do a webinar, and that's part of what we show you how to do.
Yes, dentist concerned at all about the time that it takes for the hygienist to go through that.
No, because the risk assessment brochure, that entire process gets them interested in a whole host of products and services the dental practices are providing, not just in that. It's about fluoride and sealants and desensitizing agents and a whole host of other threats that they have to their health. So it's not just about the products. So they get it. We implement risk assessment in every single practice we coach.
When you leave the booklet with them, are you leaving a diffuser as well?
No, we typically don't leave a diffuser. You certainly could. If you're local, why not, right? When Heather's presenting, what's that? I know, Vince will get addicted to it, but that's a lot of oil.
Yeah, and another thing that a lot of people do at other businesses, so.
Just leave a diffuser. Yeah, why not, right? So when she's exhibiting at dental shows, we're right in the diffusers.
We did it in here tonight.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
And because people do notice that, and so that's great. So that's certainly what you can do. Again, we're open to anything that you find that's working, share. I mean, that's something that's great about that. So again, if you have any questions about anything else, you're welcome to stay and ask questions. And some of you all have to go work at the end of our 2 hours thinking we might just be in analysis. Yep, you can take a picture of it and email it or just scan it to Heather. You can fill it in and leave it with us tonight, whatever works for you. Okay. You're welcome. Thanks for sitting there. So glad it worked out for you. Thanks for coming, you guys.
Thanks. And what was your last name again?
Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson. Heather Carlson. Okay.
Yeah, tell me your name.
I'm Janelle Anderson. You know Janae around CVS?
Yes.
So I'm her sister.
Oh, it's nice to meet
So, yeah.
you. So it's Janelle?
Yeah.
Janelle. Okay.
Yeah. So nice to meet you. And
Yeah,
thank
nice
you
to meet you.
for letting us in on this, on the invite. I'm excited for this. So I will return this.
Okay. Yeah, just email me or whatever. Did you sign up on Eventbrite? If you send me a question, it'll come to me, to my email, or I think my email's in there somewhere too. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, Heather, anybody who registered tonight, will you send them a link to the recording? How are you going to work that?
I am going to wrap up the recording right about
Hey,
now.
thanks everybody for joining us.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally standing.
Sorry, where's the recording?
Everybody just got a real good look at me.
Email me for that. Yeah, email me for that as well.
Heather's email, Heather